Hey everybody, Bruce Tagg here with the Ohio Natural Energy Institute. We are in beautiful Caldwell, Ohio, sitting in front of the Thorla-McKee well that you can see behind us. This well was discovered in 1814 by two folks looking for salt back in the day, and I think everyone should know that this is the first ever oil producing well in the United States. I have with me Commissioners Ty Moore and Commissioner Alan Fraley, and thought we'd have a little discussion with them about the importance of the oil and gas industry here in Noble County from 1814 to the present. So welcome, gentlemen. Hello, and
We're
good to
so
see you
glad
again.
you're here.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks for having us.
So obviously the oil and gas industry has directly benefited the community here, and I think it's important for citizens to know how important the industry actually is and what it's done. And of course, Ohio is not only important to us here as Buckeyes, but the entire world as we talk about energy independence and being able to produce our own stuff right here at home, particularly in Ohio. Lastly, a lot of the oil and gas industry, they invest their money locally as well. And so again, I just kind of want to have a conversation with you guys about what that has meant to Noble County in the past, and where do you see that in the future and what that looks like.
You know, we go all the way back to 1814, and the reason this well is so important is it's the first recorded, documented, journaled evidence that they tried to sell oil on the retail market. They tried to sell it as an emollient to make pain go away. They tried to sell it as a cheap version of lantern oil, maybe for outdoor barn uses or something like that. But in 1814, long before the Civil War, this oil was being used. It wasn't just being thrown away, it was discarded. Yes, this was a salt-bearing well. Where they would use the big kilns and they boil it down and make salt. Oil was a necessary evil, but the cold salt water was good. But they were going to try to make a dime off of this. And I think you go from 1814 and then you go all through the 1830s, 40s, and 50s, going down the valley here, where we have pictures of just old original oil wells being drilled everywhere. And then of course we all know what happened after the Civil War and the need for oil, and now they could use it. And we go oil and gas. You'd be amazed how many farms are 100 years old in this county that still have the original gas well heating the house, cooking the food. I mean, in all of southeastern Ohio, but a lot of those farmers had gas wells drilled on their property for the use of gas, and the house had free gas. And so many of those original farmhouses are still using that benefit today.
And from the future aspect of it, the way I look at it, being a third-generation business owner, is that it's provided a huge influx of business for all the businesses, which Alan, also a business owner as well with a restaurant, like I say, the gas and oil energy department of rolling the money into Noble County has actually saved some businesses and started new businesses. So it's been a huge influx of money locally, and that's also with schools, our county fairs. I think they had one of the highest sales that they've had at our 4-H sale out of our Noble County Fair. So the gas and oil has provided a huge...
As buyers,
yes.
Yep,
A huge...
Grand Champion steer.
Huge influx of money into the county.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you another question. Many people who may not live here, they read the news, and a lot of time the news is not friendly to the oil and gas industry, and say, oh, there's disturbances, it does this. What's the experience been here with oil and gas exploration?
From my end of the county, the northern end of the county, where we had a lot of oil and gas, the pads and this and that, they come in, very courteous, always stop to talk to the landowners. Never a problem with communication, what was going on, where they were at in the process, how long before they would frack. And they made, as little disturbance to the area as possible. They kept the road right where the road was, the pad's the pad, and when they're out, all it is just a pad. And that's it. And most of the farmers, now have access to another field on a really good road.
And from my perspective of it, being a commissioner 8 years, is that we've have had some incidents where people have been not sure about how to confront it or whatever with the oil and gas, but the first people on the front lines have been the oil and gas people to combat it, of anything they can do to help people. Especially, that's been my Noble County experience.
Yep.
So speaking of helping people, a lot of times the industry, when they go into a community, they'll hire local folks, whether they have a specialty, maybe they're a pipeline company or a hardware store. I talked to Chandler, who helped us build this, and they'll need a piece or a part or something. Can you explain some of those types of experiences? Have you seen some job growth when the industry's really up and running here? Do people wind up living here when they're done?
Well, there's two aspects to this. I'll talk about the business. He can talk about what happened in the courthouse, which was a zoo.
Sure.
Yeah, we have a couple local companies that some of these national oil and gas drilling companies would come in, but they set up accounts immediately with our local suppliers, whether it was gloves, whether it was tools, whether it was pipe. I mean, like PVC pipe, like the culvert pipes and stuff like that. They were setting up these accounts right off the bat with the local suppliers. If our local companies could get the product and get enough of it, they set up the account with the local guy.
And you know, my 2 rules, Alan knows my 2 rules in the courthouse. Do your job, shop local. It's pretty easy. And I can guarantee you the people that shop local are the gas and oil guys, which, like I say, it's been huge in our community. We certainly have appreciated it on all levels, business-wise, definitely shopping local. You guys shopping local with Chandler, Warner doing this. I mean, you asked us, who can we get locally to do it? And it's been perfect.
And that partnership is good for all of us.
Yeah. Another question for you guys. So we've seen another oil boom here in the state of Ohio here recently, and Ohio itself has become one of the top 10 states for production of oil. Where do you guys think, or what do you think that's going to do to the community here, right here in Noble County, as that oil production continues to increase?
There's multiple different ways to answer that, but I could go with the ad valorem tax for the local school districts. It is amazing what it has done to the one school district in what they can offer. I mean, we're a very rural community. We all know that. There's only 2 school districts in the whole county. And the one school district now has an award-winning robotics team that goes out and competes all year long during the school year, which would never have had the money to actually jumpstart that program and get it to that level where they could compete. And they went and bought a neighboring farm and created their own farm management. So if you want to learn more about farm management, the one school district here now has an operating farm where the kids can learn about feed and hay production and protein levels in the feed. And so that's all because of this newfound revenue source from oil and gas production.
And we had a huge plant that used to employ a lot of people in Noble County that actually got shipped out to Mexico. And when the plant went out, it was a huge hurt on our community job-wise. And what has saved our community, even probably back in the 80s when the gas and oil started becoming relevant and prevalent again, is that the money it's helped us create in our environment in Noble County. So without gas and oil, I'm not sure a lot of people could have made it.
So I'll ask this to both of you too. You know, what is one thing that most people get wrong about the industry and the relationship with the community and officials within those communities?
I mean, when I think of gas and oil and I think of rigs, I think of roughnecks and tough guys like that. You can watch the movies or whatever and see that, but it's certainly not the case with the people with the gas and oil energy, at least in Noble County. They're great people, like meeting you, Bruce, and the things that you bring to our community. And actually, the different places I go, the nicest people I'll meet are the gas and oil people, and they're saying, how can we help? So, I mean, I think it can be misconstrued by more of a roughneck industry and more of a saving industry for us as a community.
I'll answer it from the environmental impact side. There's a lot of people that look down on extraction energy sources, and I'm going to back off and say, well, then how did you drive to work? How did you get dressed today? Because everything we have is plastic or nylon or, carbon related, which all comes from the stuff that was floating on top of this in 1814. We're not destroying the environment here. They're very protective. And I think people are going to see this wasteland desert in southern Ohio, southeastern Ohio, because we let oil rigs come in. We drilled some holes in the ground. This is all done with the utmost respect to the environment and putting the hills back the way they were. And you can't even tell 5 years later where the pipelines went through the farm. And it's so that misconception that we're destroying the environment by using something that's naturally occurring every day, which is this creation of carbons. And again, come down here and see us, because you're not going to see that.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you both for having us here, and this is a reason to come down and see the commissioners and this beautiful community here. And I want everyone to stay tuned, because we have more plans for the Thorla-McKee well site here. And I'm not going to give you a teaser like a little tidbit. I'm just telling you, pay attention. There's more to come here. Again, commissioners, thank you so much for,
Thank you very much.
for having
Thank
us
you,
here,
Bruce,
and
for everything.
greatly appreciate it. Thank you.